What's up, my people? Welcome to the Mind Pursuit podcast where we talk about the human mind. I am still hosting Madegwa, still at Mint at Moa. If you've not checked out Mint at Moa, now is the time. Check them out on LinkedIn and thank me later. Come, enjoy with your family, with your friends, and I know you're going to love the place. Now, I want us to continue. You've talked to us about your experience growing up. At 12 years, you begin to understand you're meant to be a journalist. And that's a really young age. But I'm seeing a mentor figure who is your uncle coming to play, and you're looking at his lifestyle and you're liking it. He's coming with a newspaper and there was a section for children. Yeah? And you really liked to see that. And you're like, this is something you like doing. But also I'm seeing a teacher coming into play, and this teacher actually encourages you to be a journalist. Yeah? And your passion for English as well. At 7 years, you talked about being a parentified child because you felt like you are the second born, but you felt like you literally raised your sister. Yeah. You also talked about your dad working in town and your mom living in the village because she is a farmer. Yeah. So tell us more. You talked about high school as well. You hated it. You used a very strong term. You hated high school. But then now you talked about your teacher looking at you and see, because you're coming from Nairobi. So there's that perception that sometimes we find with teachers, not all teachers, but some teachers, belittling you, looking down on you because you're coming from this particular side of Kenya. Yeah. So tell us more about your high school experience, and you hated it. Let's just stay with that. What made it so difficult for you to that point where you hated high school?
For me, I think it was a very strong word, but I really do feel like I really disliked being in high school because of the whole perception, with teachers. Because you've come from Nairobi, so they have this weird, perception about you. They think they know you. They don't even have to try to know you. So they just assume that because you're coming from Nairobi, you're coming to spoil the children, from, the rural, area who are coming from around. And for me, it was really difficult for me because just having that hang over your head, and you see you're a child, you're just here trying to to survive is what I can say, because it's boarding school. Boarding school. All my life I've been living with my parents, and then suddenly I am by myself. I am so far away. Remember those days? It's not that there were any phones. Nowadays we have so many mobile phones, but back then there were landlines. And by the time you get one of the teachers to even make that call for you, as in, it was so hard. So you can't even reach out to your parents if you have a problem. You can't talk to anyone because, that these teachers who think that, you are a know-it-all because you're coming from Nairobi. So for me, it was very, very difficult. And my only reprieve, like I said, used to be drama club. Because that was where I was accepted. Because remember, my English teacher was in charge of drama. And that's where we could actually be our authentic selves. You go there, there's no judgment, you dance your problems away, you live, an imaginary life for like 2 hours and every single day. And for me, I think that was the only highlight of high school, which I can say, that I loved. But being so far away from my parents, from my family, because even, during closing day, we had to go to my grandmother's house. I loved my grandma. But I just want to go home to my parents, I just want to go home to see my parents, to see my siblings. So going to my grandparents', place, to stay there for a couple of days. Again, remember, there are no mobile phones. And this is my grandmother. She was really old. And the only way we could get in touch with my parents is, if we go to town, it was in Kakamega. So you go to Kakamega town to get a landline and to do a reverse call. Actually, gosh, the things I'm saying, they betray my age. But
They should.
Me and my sister. So my sister and I, my older sister, now the firstborn. We both schooled in Kakamega at the same time because my elder sister is 2 years older than me.
Okay.
But I started school earlier. So she was, when she was in class Form 1, I was in class 8. When she's in Form 2, I'm in Form 1. So we both went to the same, not the same school, but same area. Yeah. But we never used to meet, even in those outings because my sister is introverted. Yeah. But now when we used to close school, we had to make those reverse calls to my dad to tell him, Daddy, we have closed school.
Yeah.
Send money. Now we can come.
Yeah.
We can come home. So I think there's some people who thrive in boarding school away from their families, but there are some of us who really struggle. Yeah.
Wow.
So I struggled. Yeah.
And was it the struggle? Was it because it was far away from home, or is it the fact that you were just your parents were not around? You are sleeping with people who are not people you're familiar with. They are other learners as you.
I think it's both.
Or both.
But in high school you have to be a survivor. I don't know about these posh high schools.
Yeah.
But the high school I went to, they stole my sweater on the first week. They stole my blouses. They stole my skirts. I had nothing. I was like, where is this place? No one prepares you for that shock.
Yes.
So I've come. I am new and I was so tiny. But then I was short. I was like the shortest person in that school. I was so tiny. I don't know anyone. I don't know survival. And remember, this is the rural areas. So I went to wash my clothes, hang it on the hanging lines, went back to pick it after like 2 hours. It wasn't there. I have socks, all my socks disappeared. As in, it was survival mode from the get-go. And you are new, you don't know anyone. All of you guys, we are meeting here for the first time and going to anyone. And at some point, I was bullied, by the way. That first term, the lady who was sleeping, because there are double deckers, the lady who was sleeping, on the bed that's down. She used to tell me, fly to your bed. Figure out how you're going to get to your bed. Don't step on my bed. And those double-deckers, they didn't have like something to climb on at the back. So you can imagine, I am here struggling to get to my bed on top. This lady she was a Form 4. She has mood swings from here to Timbuktu. As in, for me, it was just trauma from the moment I joined. Yeah. So I just really disliked it. I disliked because it was survival. Remember that, of course, my parents, and they totally understood because it's not like they had a lot of money to spare. So they didn't. In fact, actually, the first 2 years, no one ever visited me. Visiting day, the way kids look forward to it. My parents never came because I think for them, they're thinking, do I need to figure out fare to go to and from, Western, or should I think about putting food on the table or paying school fees, And so they used to, I think give to my uncle money to come visit my sister and I. But remember, Diana is the naughty child. So my uncle used to say I used to embarrass him because every time he used to come to school, just negative reports. So he never used to come to visit me. But he used to go to visit my sister because my sister was the good child. She was the golden child. She used to be number 1, number 2, number 1, number 2, number 2.
And this is your elder sister?
My elder sister, yeah. So him, of course, he used to, because he wants to be praised, so he used to go to visit my sister. Me, that pocket money I was given is what I used to survive on all throughout that term. And that also used to be my fare to go to my grandmother's, place when we closed school. So I think for me, I was like, I keep this life. I don't like it at all. Yeah.
That's a lot for you to go through as a child. And I understand where you're coming from because you said you hated high school because now looking at the challenges that you are experiencing, what more? How else would you have looked at it? So that shows me where you're coming from. And then now I'm wondering, how are you able to cope? Like the first week, you've come, you've washed clothes, and they've disappeared.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I had a friend who had a sibling, an older sibling. And I came to realize, by the way, that many of my classmates like either had older siblings or had someone who they knew. But when you see some of us who are unfortunate, you don't have anyone who you know. So when she spoke to her older sibling about it, at least they gave me a skirt and a blouse and a pair of socks. So I used to wash them every single day. You know, every day during that break before preps, I used to make sure I've washed my uniform. So now the trick is you wash and then you rinse with a towel so that it can be yes, and then now you air it.
Yeah.
So now I discovered a trick where I got someone who was a bit older and was more known. So I used to air my my stuff next to there so that people don't steal. But you see, it was such a challenge because sometimes I used to wear clothes that are wet, and remember, I don't even have a sweater because at least I got a blouse and a skirt, but I didn't have a sweater. So I think for 3 years before now, I also became, hey, I'm also tough. Even me, you guys, whatever it is you're doing, even me, I can do better.
Yeah.
I will not say what.
Like I will show you.
Let's just say by the time I was leaving high school, I had like 3 sweaters. But you see, survival mode that to kick in at some point. Yeah, because now I was, I'm so perfect, I'm so good, I can't do anything wrong. But you see, everyone else around you, it's not about that life.
Yeah.
You
have to survive.
You have to survive. But it was literal survival in high school for me. Sometimes you go to, as we used to queue to be given food. You're so tiny, people have come and bullied you out of the queue. By the time you're reaching, food is over. You go to bed hungry, as in, it was, I was shocked, I've come, I'm used to eating every single day, maybe not so much food, but something before I go to bed. I missed breakfast. Breakfast was porridge. You miss breakfast because, again, if you get to that queue late, because the bell used to ring by the time you're getting to the queue. The queue, oh my God, it was so long. Yeah, it's a whole circle. By the time you're getting there, the queue is so long. By the time you're giving there your cup, they're guaraing that thing that you
you're cheating
because there's nothing to give you. And for me, that was it. So, if you miss breakfast, you miss lunch, you miss dinner, you go to bed hungry. And remember, again, we didn't come from a very well-to-do background. So I didn't have those snacks that people always used to carry, like biscuits and whatnot. So if you miss food, you have missed food.
You stay hungry.
Until the next day. And hope the next day you will run very fast to the queue to be the first to be among the top 10.
Yeah. Did it train you to like run, become?
Yes.
Yeah. So like survival.
So we would actually wait for the bell to ring, like 5 minutes to time. You with your cup and plate on the table. You're just waiting for that bell to ring. You will run very fast to go to the queue.
Whoa.
Yeah. I know it's
the challenge.
Just
was
thinking
real.
about it.
I can imagine. And maybe as you talk, there's a high schooler maybe who's watching, and they are going through that difficult part. What would you tell them?
Oh my goodness. Just hang in there.
Resilience.
There's nothing.
That's resilience.
That's
like
resilience.
hang in there.
But also, I think if you can talk to your parent, I think sometimes we underestimate our parents a lot. So for me, we never really spoke to our parents about, these things because we thought that they have a lot on their plate already. So I never, told them like, I don't want to go back to school or anything. I just used to hang in there. But there's some people who they might not be as tough or as strong. So for me, my advice would be, please speak to your parents or speak to someone who you can trust.
Absolutely.
Yes. Tell them what you're going through because there are people who, like I said, they're not strong enough. And this can just be the nail on that coffin. So they should speak out if they can. If they're strong enough and they can, I'm not saying that, be weak. Because again, this teaches you a lot, how to figure out life. However, if you don't think that you are able to cope and again, your mindset is not there, it's really doing badly on your mental health, please speak to your parents, speak to someone. Yeah, so that they
talk
listen.
it out.
Talk it out.
Even the school counselors.
Even the school
And
counselors.
you talk about being weak. I look at it as resilience. Our resilience levels are different. And now even looking at the children who are growing up now, the alpha generation, their resilience level you can't compare with the millennials and the ones who've gone ahead.
True.
So then how do you speak it out? And school in itself is pressure.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a lot of stress. By just the nature of it being a school environment, it comes with a lot of stressors.
Yeah.
So then how do you cope? Yeah. So apart from just being trying to be resilient, which is good, at the end of the day, being able to speak out, talk to a counselor, talk to, you know, a friend, talk to your parents. Do not underestimate
Exactly.
your parents.
Yeah, don't underestimate. I think for us, for me, I know my older sister. I think how she used to say, you know, that she's struggling, and I know that my parents used to at least speak to the school to try and not make her comfortable, but be able to get through, you know, because my sister also, she had her own health challenges. Yeah. But for me, again, I don't know why I think I'm superwoman. I used to think I'm superwoman.
Oh,
Like
wow.
I can do this. What? I can do this. So I really used to try and push through because maybe it's because I thought my parents had enough on their plate, or also maybe it's the me who thinks that, you know, people don't believe in me, you know, as in because I'm like this, many people think that I will fail. Yeah.
Does it come from how, because you say you are a small, you are very tiny
Yes.
in high school. So people will even move you out of the queue. Did you feel like your eagerness to actually thrive, to not even thrive per se, but to actually be aggressive to go for what you want is because of how you felt people looked at you?
Mostly yes. Mostly yes. And it started with remember the relatives I mentioned?
Yes.
Who are like telling my dad, why are you taking girls to school? As in, it's a waste of money.
Yes.
You can use this money for other things. So I was like, excuse me, I will show you guys
Yes.
that, you know,
Yes.
girls are not a waste of, you know,
resource.
Exactly. Because I felt so bad that people would make my parents feel, you know, like they did not give birth to people who are worth it, you know. And I was like, if there's anything I will do in this life, is prove you all wrong.
So it was more of intrinsic motivation.
Yes, like if there's anything I will do in this life,
Yes.
is prove you all wrong.
Oh, wow.
Because I disliked the fact that people thought that my dad was wasting his money. Yeah, and looking at my siblings, thinking, you know, and they used to mock my mom, you know, you don't have a boy. And I could see, in as much as my mom would not say it, you know, you could see that it's affecting her, you know. And of course, my dad, you know, that it doesn't like conflict, but you could just see that, you know, he didn't like it, by the way. But
And at what age were you seeing it?
when we were very young, yeah, from the time we could actually comprehend the happenings, you know, during things like family gatherings, you know, a lot of the wives in the home in the side of my father's, they had boys, you know, many had boys. It was just us who were girls, and it was 5 girls.
Yeah.
Number 1, number 2, number 3, 5. When you were trying to get a boy and it backfired, all those things. But you see, that pushed me.
Yes.
That really pushed me because I was like, I have to show these guys that my father did not waste his money.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so largely, my resilience and my self-drive comes from that. I like proving people wrong. I like winning.
And it's a good thing. I like to win.
Yeah, I like proving people wrong. So if I can prove you wrong,
Yeah.
I will.
By all means.
By all means.
What does when it comes to now hurting yourself, will you still go out of your way to prove somebody wrong?
I know,
to
I
even
love
an extent
myself
it
too
hurts
much.
you.
No. I am a baby girl.
Oh, that's good. So knowing when to draw the boundary,
line.
because I know you're speaking also to people who are aggressive enough, and how we behave is because of our childhood experiences. So I can see how the childhood experience has actually influenced who you are today.
Yeah.
Being aggressive enough, even in high school, going for what you, because you say you became resilient. It was difficult. You went through trauma. Because trauma, and if you're hearing trauma for the first time, is the psychological and emotional distress that comes from a disturbing situation. It was a disturbing situation for you that it affected you, affected how you are feeling. But at the end of the day, you grew, you bounced back. And that's what we call resilience. And as you bounce back, you are able to know how to survive.
Yeah.
And it actually taught you.
Well, I survived, I did.
You really survived.
I think at some point, I didn't even expect my parents to be coming for me. Like, oh, you have come to visit me. Oh, okay.
It caught you by surprise.
Yeah, it caught me because, you see, the first 2 years, they didn't used to come visit, and the person they used to send never used to come to visit anyway. So at some point I told them, don't bother sending so and so, because they don't even come. So you're just wasting money, and the guy is not coming. So put that money aside. If you can give it to me as pocket money, well and good. If you can send it to the bazaar, back then we used to send money to the bazaar. Custodian. If you can send that money to the bazaar, send the bazaar money. But if you can't, you know, again, I did not want to push my parents to a place where they couldn't be able to, because I understood my background. And in as much as there were people who really had a lot, and we could see from whatever it is, the shoppings they used to have, I had to teach myself from, you know, very beginning, remember your background. Remember your background. Don't compare yourself with other people. You know, there's a place where your parents can, and if they, you know, if they really want to and they can, there's no way that a parent can knowingly decide to refuse to give their children the best things. So I understood that. I understood that, and I decided to live in my lane, you know, in my lane, you know?
Absolutely.
So that helped. And as much as, you know, the first year was very traumatic, and second year, third, fourth, I was okay. I still disliked high school.
I can imagine.
But I was okay.
Because that is a lot that you are actually going through.
But I was okay.
Oh, you were okay.
Yeah.
Huh? Thank you so much for sharing. Wow. And we've had a lot goes on in school.
Yeah.
School is a stressor. So how do you cope?
Yeah,
so thank you. Thank you so much for sharing.
And you know, there's also that aspect about school where you want to compare yourself with other students. You know, you get there and you don't remember your background, because I'm seeing Mercy. Mercy has so much. So I'm giving myself and my family pressure to also provide. And you see very many people lying to their parents, you know, we have this school trip and whatnot. And you know, because
you live a life that is really not
yours, and you can't even afford. So you put so much strain on yourself and other people because you want to maintain a certain lifestyle. So it's peer pressure, by the way. It's not, it's, you know, it emanates from very young, you know, all the way up. Just remembering where you come from, I think, is what helped me get rooted.
And I'm looking at also self-esteem. Because now for you, you did not allow your background to also define you.
Yes. And I think
sticking to your lane, you talk about sticking to your lane. So like, if you're not able to afford it, like the snacks like the other children, you're okay with that. But now there are children who will go out of their way to live a lifestyle that is not theirs.
Exactly.
And that speaks into their self-esteem.
Yeah, true. Yeah. And for me, I think also my self-esteem came from, again, my parents speaking life to me. There is not a single day my parents ever made me feel like you're nothing. You know, they, if anything, you know, I know, because I normally say my dad has done it all for us. You know? As in, if anything, they will speak life and tell you, you know, this is what you want. I believe that you can do it. So you do. You know, you go ahead
They are
and
family.
I will support you the best way that I can.
Oh, wow.
And they do it.
Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah. So I hope we are learning. Oh, I hope we are learning. Resilience is a good thing to have, you know? And at the end of the day, knowing yourself and understanding the value that you hold as a person. Because self-esteem is the value that you hold as a person. So understanding that and staying in your lane is very important. So we are still here with Madegwa. I hope if you've not yet subscribed, now is the time. Press on the notification bell below so that you get notified once every episode goes up. So see you on the next one. Remember to like, share, tell a friend to tell a friend. See you on the next one. Bye.